I don't hear anything.
Did you guys lose the audio there at the end?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I was
First
jamming.
time I heard you.
I don't know what happened there. I think I hit a button on my keyboard that locked my screen, and I think that stopped the screen sharing. So apologize for that. How are we doing this Thursday morning? Who's got some energy to share with the group, raise everybody's energy up? Who's got something good going? Steve.
So yesterday I asked the group about the showing that I had with, the homeowners being there and everything, and it was a great experience. This listing agent ended up showing up because the elderly husband and wife, they're in their 90s, so husband had a doctor's appointment, so the listing agent came and kind of assisted, and it was great because we got to ask all those questions that we normally wouldn't be able to without them there. And we know we'd have to wait till after and reach out. And so we were able to do all the things and see all the, where the mailboxes are and all this stuff in the condo unit. So it turned out to be a good experience having them there. So that was cool to see, something a little more unorthodox of what I was accustomed to in the last few months.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything in particular that they divulged in those questions that you feel like, oh, that's interesting. We probably wouldn't have known that.
Well, there's a unique parking situation. So we kind of knew what parking spot, but they kind of told us what the association allows them to do, and they were able to show us. So it's a little weird. So without them there, we wouldn't have known we could get a second vehicle and how that would work, which is a huge item that, my buyer was concerned about was parking. So that definitely made them feel a little more at ease. So that was something that we probably wouldn't have been able to visualize, being told one thing and then actually seeing it and like, okay, that makes more sense. So that definitely bridged the gap there and got to see it firsthand. And that's just, one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, we've never actually talked about that on the call, which is the parking situations at condos. They can definitely be a little bit funky. Where is the guest parking? How many spaces do you get with your unit? Where is your unit? The other thing that can come up with condos a lot is is the garages. So a lot of times the garages are separately deeded, so you could randomly, it's not like, hey, every condo comes with a garage. One condo could come with a garage, the next one could come with two garages, the next one could come without a garage. So it's interesting. So don't just make assumptions, and then garages can come up, right? So you could buy a condo, need a garage, right? And go, well, this one doesn't have one. Well, this one is actually going to be coming up and you might be able to grab it, or these people don't need it and they can sell it to you. So there's some funky stuff. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to this, of anything that they've done with condos and garages and parking spaces. I assume maybe even, I haven't seen this, but I assume maybe even the spaces themselves could be deeded separately, and that you could pick up a couple down the road if you really needed them. So I don't know. Can anybody speak to this? Jeff and Linda.
It's just super important when you're listing a condo to make sure that you're very, very clear about the parking situation and to have it expressed accordingly in your listing. Because the last thing you want is for somebody to assume that something is coming with the unit and it isn't, or for you to assume that that is the case based on another, current listing in the community. Because to your point, Steve, every single scenario is different, even within the same community. And it's really important to call the management company so that they can give you the facts on what this unit does and does not come with. You can't just assume that another realtor's listing is accurate, or that whatever they've listed applies to your particular scenario. And yeah, those parking garages spaces can be very, very lucrative. They can sell for at least, in Illinois, $10,000-$15,000 for a parking space. And in some instances, they can be sold separately. So it's really critical for people to know what is accurate information about the parking spaces.
Yeah, cool. And I think the same thing kind of can come up with boat slips and stuff down in Florida, right? So you might have a limited number of slips, and some units might have one, some might not. So there's definitely different little things that can come separately. So just be paying attention. Anybody else want to just talk about unique things about condos or parking or any of that stuff? Anything coming to mind that you've run across, Angela?
Yeah, so interesting. What I just ran across last week. I mean, yes, condos, we do deal a lot in condos here in Florida. And the units that definitely come with an assigned parking space are premium. Those usually sell a little bit higher. But I came up with something weird last week showing homes to my out-of-state buyers. They loved this community in Sarasota, excuse me. Showed them 3 homes in this community. They fell in love with the home, but the deal breaker was the HOA doesn't allow you to park your vehicle on the driveway overnight. Everything has to be parked in the garage. That was pretty unique for me. I haven't ran across that before in Florida. So that kind of was the deal breaker on buying in that community.
Yeah. Yep. The other thing that you'll run into is commercial vehicles being able to be out, right? So some towns and maybe communities can have a restriction, so if you're running, Joe's plumbing service out of your house, you might not be able to have Joe's plumbing, van, truck, whatever in your driveway. So that's definitely going to be an issue if you, close on the property and now all of a sudden you can't have that vehicle in the driveway. So something else to consider. Jeff and Linda, you guys are muted.
Okay. Yeah, and again, it's super, super important to find out what the restrictions are for that community. Certain communities will not allow motorcycles. In addition to having a commercial vehicle, some communities won't allow you to have trucks parked on a driveway that aren't for commercial use. Just a pickup truck. So it's really, really important to find out, because the last thing you want is for someone to purchase a home only to find out that they can't park whatever vehicle they have. And then there also can be restrictions on the number of vehicles that you are allowed to have. I had a couple, they fell in love with a place and they were going to buy it, but their son was going to come and stay with them during the summers. He was at college, and they weren't allowed to have any vehicles out on their driveway overnight. And they were buying a place that had a 2-car garage. So they backed out of their interest in this property because they wouldn't be able to accommodate having their son come and stay with them for the summer. So there's just tons and tons of restrictions, and it's 100% dependent on the specific community. And even within one community, there can be multiple HOAs, and they're all going to have their own different rules and regulations. So digging deep with that straight off the bat, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, I would just can't even consider this place for these reasons."
Yeah, great share. And Wendy put in the comments, she had a community where the garage doors couldn't be left open. So there's just pay attention, right? Do your due diligence, get the docs, understand what the restrictions are. Anybody else have something weird of a restriction that came up that just either killed the deal or, hey, we found this out? Obviously, you've got, pet limitations and pet weight limitations and number of pet limitations. Can you have dogs? Can you have cats? How many can you have? What weight can they be? There's those things. Anything else that somebody's seen that you want to just throw out on the table here? When you have historic regions, you're going to be limited on sometimes the colors that you can use, the materials that you can use. On the Cape, I think it's just the Cape. There are certain areas where you have to have that special shingle. So, and I think then some of these communities are saying, okay, now we'll allow the vinyl shingles that look like the shingles. So just, know your communities, do your research, see if there's anything, weird, call the town, any weird restrictions that we need to know about, especially if you're dealing with an area that you don't normally sell in. Historic homes, they might say, hey, you can't do vinyl windows. They have to be wood windows, or you can only do certain types of roofs, right? I know that's another thing with the communities down in Florida. They're only doing certain types of roofs in certain communities. And so they might build them with asphalt in one community, with tile in another community, and there might be restrictions because they want them to, have the same look and feel. All right, who else has got something? Let's switch up the topic. What else we got going on? Who's got something weird going on a deal? Nobody else likes to have fun with these filters. You guys got to have some fun with these filters, man. All right, let's. I got a couple of things from Tom Ferry teed up that I've had teed up for a while that we just haven't been able to get around to. So let's play a couple of these. Let's talk because it is definitely this time of year.
Do you ever get in your head post the holidays? And maybe the way you're thinking about it is different from the way I'm thinking about it. For me, it's like the missing edge. It's that I've lost my mojo. I've taken a couple of days off and oh my God, I got to restart again. And you ever feel that way? Let me know in the comments, or am I the only crazy one? The thing I remind myself of is action absorbs anxiety. I'm curious for you. What do you do to get back your mojo? Do you ever get in your
That's a hell of a freeze frame we got right there. You guys can see your screen, but I loved that finish. Action absorbs anxiety. Right. So I don't know if anybody on the call is still in a little lull from, Thanksgiving, or you're just kind of looking ahead already for the next holidays that are coming. But action absorbs anxiety. If you're just feeling anxious, like just get on the phones, make a couple of calls, send a couple of texts, even if it's not to leads. If it's just to somebody that when you call them, they're going to put a smile on your face. They're going to get you out of that funk. It's going to be a good conversation, right? They've got that kind of abundance mentality. They're not going to be talking to you. Oh, did you see, go into some gossip, or did you see this headline or whatever, right? When you call this person, they're just about positivity and lifting you up. So it doesn't have to be leads. So if you're out there and you're struggling, you feel like you're in a funk, um, you got to have those couple of go-to people that you just know, man, this person's always got a lot of energy. They're going to put a smile on my face and it'll get me out of this. And then I can go make my calls. Anybody else have any thoughts around this? What do you do when you're in a funk? Do we have a strategy? Because if we don't have a strategy, we don't have a plan. We're planning to fail here. Steve.
So I have a lot going on, as you know, other side businesses. I have people in places, and any business, things don't always go as planned. And obviously, I'm pursuing this real estate and working leads and trying to answer every Zillow lead. Things get overwhelming, especially holidays. I got basketball I coach for 2 of my 5 girls. It gets overwhelming, shopping, everything. The wife wants attention. I just do a checklist and I'll break it down. The kids are at school from 8 to 3 p.m. I'll break it up into an hour and I'll say, if I can get this done in this block, this one and that one. And once you start checking those boxes off and see that list going, it becomes like contagious. And that anxiety goes as you see the next one checked off, next one, and then you're in the zone again. So for me, it's just checklists.
Love it. Love it. And everybody's going to have something different. It's just that we want to have something, right? And this is not an easy business to just get up every day and do the thing and make the calls and be on, right? So if you're in a funk, you need something to be able to get out of that funk. Anybody else want to share what's working for them? Caitlin.
I love this. I've always suffered from kind of like analysis paralysis and just knowing that just a simple action or taking action is kind of the best way forward.
Yeah, right. And that's all we're looking for, guys, is we don't have to have like world-changing ideas. If you can just throw something out there that maybe, right? So for Caitlin, this one hits, maybe for half the people on the call, it doesn't hit, and just whatever. But if you throw something out there, I promise you somebody else on the call is dealing with, struggling with, or whatever. And your little tip, trick, hack could be exactly what they need to get on their way today. So thanks for opening up, Caitlin. It's great to hear from you on this call. Julius.
Yes, my thing is, I was gonna say exactly what Caitlin said. My thing is when I'm in the funk, I just kind of get on the phones and um, once you go through those first couple calls, that feeling starts to go away that you're kind of in that funk. Yeah, just by looking in different places, calling some people I haven't called in a while, and they kind of like make your day better, and then it kind of opens up from there.
Great. Thanks for sharing, man. Jeff and Linda.
Exercise. It gets the endorphins going. It doesn't have to be, where you go to the gym and commit to half a day. You go outside, go for a walk, get some fresh air, get the blood flowing, and get those good endorphins running, and it just clears your head, and it just sets a tone for you to do positive things with your day.
I love it. I couldn't imagine starting my day any different. I got to get to that gym, and when I don't, it's just not the same.
No,
And then I combine that with the music. That's why we start with the music here. I'm trying to get you guys, up and going a little bit, get some energy flowing. So good.
The other thing that I recommend, when you first get up in the morning, have a big glass of ice water. I know that sounds really lame, but it's amazing how it just kind of just perks you up and gets you going.
I am by the time this call starts, I think I got about 100 ounces of liquid in me. Yeah, a lot of fluids. First, your body just you precipitate out, evaporate out, whatever the heck is going on overnight. Your body's just using a lot of water, especially if you're getting a good night's sleep. You're waking up, that mouth is dry, like your body's just dry. It needs hydration first thing. So anything that you can do, I know a lot of people say you just put the glass of water right on your nightstand and just drink it right when you get up. I mean, I haven't gone that far, but you're definitely losing a lot of water at night. This next one is interesting. It's a little bit more difficult to do. I've done this. I've been coaching with Tom since 2014. I started, so a little over a decade. And he's been pushing this pretty much every year that I've been in the org. And some years I feel like I do this pretty good. Some years probably not so much. But it's an interesting strategy around calendar planning. So let me share this one with you.
Question: what do you and Kathy do to kind of get ready for the next year? Well, would it shock you to hear that my wife and I will sit down and we will say, what are all the holidays? What are all the events? What are all the birthdays? What are the vacations? What are the getaways? What are the events that Tom's going to travel to that Kathy may want to come? And we try and put all of that into the entire calendar for 2025. Now, what happens when you do this is you realize you just went from 365 days to dramatically less. And what I know is this, and you probably do the same: work expands to the time allotted. So if I plan out all the personal stuff, if I plan out the anniversaries and the birthdays and the getaways, and one son lives on this coast and one son lives on that coast, and I want to see them both, and a boys trip, and then we know we're going here for business, and we know we're going to stay a couple more days. If I plan all that out, then I can now say, I'm now down to this many days for the year. How am I going to spend that time? What is the highest and best revenue use of my time on those days? And then I literally start to plan out everything I'm going to do for the entire year. Now, for me, I'm going to do all these events and I'm going to do it in these cities. And here's the time where I'm going to be resting. And here's the time where I'm going to be working my face off. For you, it might be, I've got a plan next year to do 60 open houses, 70 open houses, 100 open houses. Here's where I'm going to do them. This is when I'm going to do my client events. Everything that makes your business work better, I'm going to put it all in the calendar, the entire calendar inside online so everybody can see it. This is the entire year, my personal life and my business life in one shot. So I love this question. What do you and Kathy do?
So has anybody done this? Has anybody taken the entire calendar and kind of crossed out, hey, here's all the stuff. These are the non-negotiables, right? We're doing this vacation. We're doing this quarterly getaway. We've got this. It's my anniversary. So we're going to do this, right? All of a sudden, you're left with not so many weeks. So it's an interesting way when you can actually look at the entire calendar and go, all right, these couple of weeks out of this month, I really got to get down and I got to grind. Anybody want to speak to this one? Does anybody think that this might be something they would give a shot to? Steve.
Yeah, I do exactly that. I have to with 5 kids and dance recitals, and they have competitions. And then we have sports for 3 of my 5 girls, and then I coach, and then I got the DJing. It's very easy to double book yourself if you don't have everything organized ahead. So I already have 2025, 2026 calendar with dates, the anniversaries, birthdays, things, reminders on my phone. So I always do a 1 hour before, day before, a week before. So I'm getting an alert a week ahead of time to know, like, hey, next week, this is what's coming up. So, and then I'll get the day before as well, so I don't forget, lose track of time. So it's a constant grind to keep up with that calendar, but it's the only way I can manage my workload.
Yeah. I don't know I don't know any other way to do it, right? It's got to be calendared. It's got to get in that calendar. Tom has drilled that into me. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And if you fail the plan, you're planning to fail, right? If you are just waking up every day and trying to wing it and doing the best that you can, there's no chance that you can have as much success if that same person just took a little time, took a Saturday to just look out into the future a little bit, get up to 10,000 feet and say, hey, look, this is what, even if you can't do the full year, if you can at least do, the first quarter, right? Take a look at Q1. What are the major things that are going to happen in your life, and how much time do you actually have? And then maybe you can utilize that time, a little bit more seriously. We got a few minutes left. Any other shares that you guys have, something that's going that you wanted to discuss? Oh, before I forget, we will not be doing the call tomorrow. We have our big event in Springfield. We've got Sharon, president of Real, coming to the Mass Mutual Center. That is 10 to 2. If you are on this call and you haven't got a ticket, I think we've still got room for a few. So no call tomorrow. Anything else? Why don't we just take a look at the calendar for training today? See what opportunity are there. I will say, if you haven't done an actual formal business plan, we did that session yesterday with Sharon that he ran. You got to take some time to plan out the business. So that was recorded. Take some time to watch the recording if you couldn't join it live. But this is the time of year that you've got to be looking at not just your calendar, but what are the activities that you're going to do? What are the marketing changes that you're going to do? He gave us 9 different strategies yesterday, marketing ideas that are super, super easy to implement into your business. So if you just picked 1 or 2 and attacked them, I think you're going to see a dramatic change in your business. But one of the things, if I'm planning out my year, is how do I level up my skills? Right? Skills are going to turn into dollars. So what are you doing to get better every single day? Right? You're jumping on this call, obviously. That's a great start to your morning. Is there a training that you're taking? Right. So that's why I'm trying to push this at the end of every call, is you got to level up those skills. Because if you can just get 5-10% better at your conversion rates, you don't have to do extra work. You spend the same amount of time, you have the same amount of conversations, and close more business. And that's the difference between the top producers and the rest. He had a stat yesterday on the business planning where you pick how many transactions you want to do, and then you figure out how many conversations is it going to take to get that number of transactions. And the kind of industry standard is about 50 conversations leads to a transaction. So when we say all the conversion happens in conversation, we're talking about having 50 unique conversations to get a transaction. Right? So if you're working your sphere, that's 50 conversations. So that's going to the book club and talking to those 8 people and somehow getting some real estate in there, and then going to the PTO meeting and getting 8 conversations in there. And then you go to, I don't know, gymnastics tryouts, and you're talking to the parents there. There's another 8. So it takes 50 of these conversations, and not just, hey, how you doing? Like real estate's got to get in there. For the average person, it's going to take 50 of those to do one deal. Right? So if you want to do 20 deals, what is that? 1,000 conversations? Now, if you're a little bit better, right? Maybe it's 25 conversations. Maybe it's 30 conversations. So as you can see, you can dramatically change your production by just getting better at the conversations that you're having, asking the right questions, asking for referrals at the right time. We've all got the same 24 hours in the day. The best agents can have 25 conversations and get the transaction, and the new agents have to do 50. And that's why when you join our team, we just push phone calls. You've just got to have conversations. You are coming in with no pipeline, right? And even if you're an experienced agent, if you are struggling, my guess is you're just not having enough conversations. The pipeline does not have enough people in it, right? If we're looking at the funnel, we just need more people at the top of the funnel to eventually drop down into the bottom and turn into a transaction. But here's just some of the trainings that are available today. There's the new agent starter series. If you are a new agent, you're on this call. I think this is, I don't even know, 10 or 12 sessions, and they are recorded. So you don't even have to do these live sessions, right? You can go to the recorded ones. The Journey to Elite Mastery, Build Mastermind, the Real Agent Society, How to Hire, that's tomorrow. We got a few different ones tomorrow. So 4 different trainings available today. If I'm planning out my 2025 and my 2024 wasn't where it needed to be, one of the things on my list is probably to take a training every day, right? These trainings are an hour long. You can go back and watch recorded ones, put it on 1.5 times speed. What's that? You're going to be in and out of there in 35, 40 minutes. If you're not taking 35 to 40 minutes to level up your skills, you're going to do the same amount of transactions you did in 2024. One of the reasons that we at our brokerage have made this decision to move is I believe that leveling up your skills is the easiest way to do more transactions. And this model here just allows for every day, every agent has the ability on their own time from the comfort of their own, home to level up their skills. And I've never, we've been paying for the Tom Ferry organization for a decade, and it's great. And they've got access to a lot of training, but not like this. Right. So please take advantage of this stuff. It's critical to level up your skills every day. So appreciate you guys. Have yourselves an awesome Thursday. Hope to see a lot of you guys at the event tomorrow, and we'll talk again on Monday morning. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Enjoy Sharon tomorrow.
We will. I think we're streaming him. Are we streaming him to Florida? I think we might be.
Are you?
I don't know. Talk to Alex and Angela.
So
Okay.
far, we don't know about anything streaming. We were actually going to talk to you.
Oh, let me get
I'm
back
sure we
to you
could
on
set
that.
something up.
That
Yeah.
would be amazing if that's a possibility.
Let me find out.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay, bye everybody. Safe
Bye, guys.
travels, Angela and Alex.
Thank you.